Fierce, active, vigilant, ready to bite. That is exactly what a watchdog should be. But many of New Mexico's public watchdogs are actually fluffy little lapdogs, more likely to give doggy kisses than sink their fangs into the hides of offending politicians. Here's Larry Barker to yank some chains.
I don't think we have politicians in New Mexico that are more corrupt than anywhere else. I just don't think we have the structures in place to deal with the few bad apples.
It would be great in an ideal world to not have to have ethics boards or ethics commissions, but invariably public officials do violate public trust. Sometimes the political system and the power it conveys does corrupt.
The New Mexico legislature recognized long ago that public service requires a high ethical standard. So they set up the bipartisan 16-member Interim Legislative Ethics Committee to regulate everything from political contributions, gifts, and financial disclosures to business cards and stationery. It's all right here in the official handbook. Break the rules and you risk a reprimand, censure, or even being kicked out of the legislature. The Ethics Committee holds public hearings on allegations of lawmaker wrongdoing. Now, it doesn't rule on a lot of complaints. In fact, it hasn't ruled on any complaints. Since it was formed 18 years ago, the Interim Legislative Ethics Committee has not acted on a single complaint. In New Mexico, legislative ethics enforcement is a process on paper only. Doug Turner is an Albuquerque public affairs executive.
As far as I can tell, there has been very, very little ethics work done by the legislature in self-governance, in investigating itself. And I think there are those who would suggest that it is almost akin to the fox guarding the henhouse.
For example, when he was Senate president, Manny Aragon not only lined his pockets with bribes and kickbacks, he also served as chairman of the Senate Ethics Committee. Today, Aragon serves his time in a federal penitentiary. Now, if a member of the general public wants to file an ethics complaint against a state senator, forget about it. Under the rules, only a senator can file a complaint against another senator. Now, the state house does accept complaints from the general public. In the last 18 years, the Interim Ethics Committee has received 6 complaints. None ever saw the light of day.
Either everybody who's serving in the legislature is as honest as they come, which could be the case, or it tells you that there are plenty of things that are either getting ignored or just pushed by the wayside.
The existing ethics committee is legislators looking over and investigating what other legislators have done.
Steve Allen heads up Common Cause New Mexico. Last year, lawmakers defeated a Common Cause initiative to establish an independent ethics commission.
What Common Cause wants is an independent body to look at not just complaints against legislators, but complaints against members of other branches of government in New Mexico, including the executive branch.
It's not just the state legislature. Many city and county governments across the state have laws governing standards of conduct for public officials, like Bernalillo County.
And all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Last year, commissioners approved a sweeping new ethics ordinance. In Bernalillo County, an outside investigator reviews alleged violations and then refers them to a citizens' ethics board. Board members act as judge and jury, hearing testimony and reviewing evidence before dispensing justice. Albuquerque attorney Don Bruckner has served on the ethics board for 3 years. Since you were appointed on the board, how many ethics complaints have you heard?
0.
You heard that right. Despite more than 40 complaints, not a single allegation has reached the ethics board. No complaints, no witnesses, no evidence. Wayne Johnson is a newly elected commissioner. Is the ethics ordinance working today?
My opinion? No.
What's wrong with this picture?
There's a lot wrong with that picture. I think there may be a lot of process involved, but it's not due process.
What happened? Well, some complaints were tossed because they weren't relevant. Others were dismissed by the outside investigator. A review committee dismissed this one, and this allegation has languished for months without action. No sooner did commissioners pass the new ethics legislation, they brazenly violated it. Our investigation found Commissioners Hart Stebbins, De La Cruz, Armijo, Brasher, and Weiner each accepted more than 24 premium concert tickets worth some $2,700 from Live Nation, a firm that leases this amphitheater from Bernalillo County. The ethics ordinance prohibits employees from accepting gifts from anyone doing business with the county. So what is a gift? Commissioner Hart Stebbins authored a definition.
Any money, service, a license, permit, contract, authorization, loan, travel, entertainment, hospitality, gratuity, or any promise of those, or anything of value that is received or given without equivalent consideration or compensation.
Earlier this year, Commissioners Hart Stebbins, De La Cruz, and Weiner violated the ordinance once again by failing to report gifts over $250. In the last 2 years, commissioners and the former county manager divvied up $80,000 worth of concert tickets they did not pay for. You have a contractor to the county providing expensive gifts to commissioners. Now, in your opinion, is that an ethical issue?
Absolutely. It is absolutely an ethical issue.
If you believe in good ethics, then you believe in good governance, then you believe in holding people accountable. And if you don't believe in holding people accountable, you probably shouldn't be in government.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
Commission Chair Maggie Hart Stebbins, who takes credit for the new ordinance, declined to be interviewed for this story.